All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Heat number 1 from Lernerville. Kelly Wheeler and Tim Chapman on the front row. Armando Melgoza and Terry Landis have the second row. Mayor Bixler and Cale Bixler on the third row. Andy Patton rounds out the field. Everybody get stacked up on pit road, ready to roll out. Pace car leads them all out on track. And the pace car dives in quickly. We're about to go green right about now. Green flag is in the air. Heat 1 is underway at Lernerville and some problems. A lot of bumping going off into turn 1 as everybody tries to get up to speed. Mayor Bixler is on the attack. Mayor Bixler already up to second, trying to close the gap. Kelly Wheeler up ahead in the lead, but now Armando on the move. We've talked about Armando's bad luck in recent months. Man, hopefully we start to see a change. Armando currently sits in third, Mayor Bixler in second. Kelly Wheeler does have the fastest lap and is checked out as a 1 second lead. Andy Patton and Tim Chapman got caught up a little bit early, lost some ground. Terry Landis now on the move underneath Armando for third. Terry Landis did just set the fastest lap to take third. But here comes Wheeler out of turn 4. The white flag flies. One more time around for Kelly Wheeler. Mayor Bixler still holding on to second despite the attacks from Landis. And Kelly Wheeler will win Heat 1. Mayor Bixler comes home in second. On to Heat 2, John Tobias and Greg Boydell on the front row, Ed Harris, Mark Dantuma on the second row. Joe Gauthier and Pops Moore have the third row. Mr. Maurer rounding out the field. Everybody getting gridded up on pit road. And now we get to see Mark the Man Dantuma on dirt tonight. I don't know if we have ever seen him on dirt before. We know he'll do well at Talladega, but how will he do here tonight on the dirt at Lernerville? Mark back there running the 157. I believe that is a Navy Joe sponsored car. It is indeed. And there goes the pace car to pit road. Here they come out of turn 4. The green flag flies for Heat 2. Already 3. Holy cow, we've got problems. Dantuma gets into it. He was 3 wide, had nowhere to go. John Tobias quickly to the lead. Ed Harris in second. Oh, more banging out of turn 4. Greg Boydell, his first race back tonight, slips back to 7th. Pops Moore currently in 5th, trying to make his way forward. Remember, Pomp says he's not that good at these cars. He likes the sprint cars, but look at the attack. John Tobias continually setting the fastest laps every lap so far. Dan Tuma has had another problem. He has recovered, but he drops back to 7th. He's going to have a lot of work to do in the feature. Mr. Maurer is charged up into 2nd place. Heck of a run so far for him tonight. Pops Moore all over his bumper. As here comes John Tobias, white flag one more time around. That battle for 2nd is going to allow Tobias to pull away. He's got a 1.5 second lead as he sends it through 3 and 4 the final time. John Tobias wins Heat 2. Drivers will have a 3-minute warm-up, a last chance to find some speed as the lights come on. Worth noting, the final lap of Heat 1, Andy Patton did set the fastest lap of the heat. And it looks like everybody is rolling out. John Tobias on his way out. There's Terry Landis in his Yoo-Hoo car. Tim Chapman rolls out. Ed Harris coming out on track as well. Armando Melgoza now out on track. John Tobias out as well. Joe Gauthier out now, as is Mr. Maurer. Mr. Maurer definitely he had a ton of speed in Heat 2 and made up the most ground so far tonight. He's going to be tough to beat. Greg Boydell coming back out. Greg has been out for a few weeks, but he does have a new PC powering his race tonight. Mark Dantuma, Mayor Bixler, the only two not on track. Mark Dantuma has apparently lost the pavement. Mark, when was the last time you drove a dirt car? It is great to see you out there, buddy. And good luck. Good luck to all the drivers. And looks like Andy Patton may be the driver to beat tonight. Fastest in practice, fastest in warm-up. And again, had the fastest lap of the heats. All right, warm-up is over, folks. Mark, I don't think it's been quite that long. A big field here tonight on the dirt at Lernerville. As here we go. Kelly Wheeler, John Tobias will have the front row. Mayor Bixler and Mr. Maurer on the second row. Terry Landis, Pops Moore of the third row. Cale Bixler, Greg Boydell in the fourth. Armando Melgoza and Ed Harris round out the top 10. Andy Patton starts in 11th next to Joe Gauthier in 12th. Tim Chapman in 13th. Mark the Man Dantuma rounds out the field. Everybody stacking up on pit road, and here they come. And folks, we did get a lot of the YouTube short. Actually, we got them all finished from last week's races. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel, check it out. Don't forget, you can watch the races. Our previous races, all of them are on YouTube. And for about the last month now, we've started putting them on YouTube in 4K. All right, out of turn 2, the pace car will drop in this time. Kelly Wheeler, John Tobias up front. Pace car is in. Here we go. The green flag flies. They are underway for the feature here at Lernerville. And 4 wide into turn 1. A car went sideways. Caution is out. Well, when you go into turn 1, 4 wide, things are going to go wrong here. Let's see if we can see what the heck happened. Looking at Cale Bixler back behind there on the bottom. Cale ends up in the middle 4 wide, gets a tap from, I believe, Armando, and a couple of them just stack up into the mix. Rough way to start the night. Cale Bixler did go to pit road, likely just needs a quick repair, and will be back out. Tim Chapman looks like he may have been having a problem. He is aiming for pit road. Tim did get caught up in that incident. Cale Bixler is back out on track. Caution laps do not count, so everybody should maintain the lead lap here. Chapman is on his way back out as they stack up for the restart. And looks like they did extend it a lap, giving Tim enough time to get back out and get lined up with everybody. All right, Tim Chapman is back out on track. He'll stack up with the rest of the field. And here we go. The green flag flies once again. Wheeler manages to get clear right off the bat. Tobias a little out of shape out of turn 2. It has allowed Mayor Bixler on the attack. Back behind, we've got 3 wide out of the turn. And 3 wide back into 1. Almost 4 wide. Greg Boydell was almost down in the grass trying to make a move. Kelly Wheeler does have the fastest lap so far, 15.98. But Terry Landis now underneath for second. Oh, Landis goes deep into 3. Oh, that went wrong for Terry. He has lost a lot of ground after making a bunch up. And like we saw in the heat, Mr. Maurer on the attack. Landis gets it right through 3 and 4 that time. Ed Harris is going to pit road. Dan Tuma has had a problem. Let's see what happened with Ed and Mark. Oh, Ed gets the wall out of 4, comes across Mark. Man, and a stack up on the front stretch. And looks like Cale Bixler and Mayor Bixler also had a problem. Let's take a look. There's Cale after getting the car recovered from that incident. It looks like that car was hurt and he couldn't get it to turn. Mayor Bixler battling up front, goes a little too hot into 3 and 4, smacks the wall and bounces back out. But obviously that right front is broken. Definitely a bumpy start to the night here tonight. Mayor Bixler did make it back to pit road. He is on his way out. So far, Kelly Wheeler has been the dominant car all night. All right, pace car is in. Here we go. Back to green. Green flag is back in the air. Kelly launches it off into 1. Landis all the way down to the grass. Almost gets a run to the inside for the lead, but here comes Tobias, and caution is out behind. Looks like Andy Patton and Ed Harris. Let's see what happened. Oh, Ed gets a bump from behind. It turns him down. He collects Andy. What a setback for both drivers. Drivers had to stop and wait for the pace car here. Kelly Wheeler still has the lead. Terry Landis now in second. John Tobias in third. Pops Moore in fourth. Joe Gauthier up to fifth now. Both Greg Boydell and Mr. Maurer are on pit road for repairs. Should see him back out. Maurer on his way. All right, here we go. Pace car is in. The green flag flies again. And once again, Kelly gets a big jump on the field. Terry and John battling it out. Whoa. Armando Melgoza now up into 5th. Joe Gauthier up 6 spots into 6th. Mayor Bixler in 7th. All 3 of them battling. Andy Patton closing in. Oh, Andy gets whacked a couple of times. The caution is out. Andy just became a ping pong ball. Tim Chapman also catching a piece of it. Let's take a look. There's Andy, just gets loose or gets the tap from the outside, and then everybody behind him runs into him. Tim Chapman also gets involved. Oh, wow. Chapman was 3 wide, bounced off the middle car out to the rail. Definitely a bumpy start to the night, but it does speak to how fast all these drivers are. They just keep getting closer and closer every week. Lights are out. Everybody is stacked back up, ready for the restart. Kelly Wheeler, Terry Landis have the front row. John Tobias, Pops Moore right behind. There we go. Pace car is in. Out of turn 4. The green flag flies again, and Tobias has a problem on the start. John Tobias lost a lot of ground on the start. Did not have the momentum, managed to fight back. He's in 4th. Andy Patton trying to recover here. He was the fastest most of the night, but now back in 8th. He goes underneath Dan Tuma as the caution comes out. Looks like Cale Bixler mixed up in this one. Off into turn 1. Cale looks a little slow on the bottom. A car from above just comes down, gets into him. He does get it turned around and going again, but man, Cale is having a rough night. Tim Chapman and Armando Melgoza on pit road this time for repairs. Landis still has the lead. Lights are out as they stack back up for the restart. Kelly Wheeler in control as they come out of turn 4. The green flag flies again. Wheeler once again clears traffic as they go off into one, and they're trying to use every bit of the track. And they're all the way down the grass. Dan Tuma goes outside the track. Armando's outside the... Wow. The caution is back out. Let's see what happened back behind. They were battling nose to tail, inches apart. Dan Tuma goes wide. Melgoza gets into a car and sends him around. Cale Bixler has a problem on the bottom. Cale right behind all this chaos. He has not been able to avoid anything tonight. All right, everybody is stacking back up for the start. Kelly Wheeler and Terry Landis side by side at the front. And the green flag flies once again at Lernerville. Kelly once again clearing traffic. Everybody side by side. Terry Landis clears into second, but Pops moves up to the high line on the run. What a run out of 4 for Pops. And a big mess in the middle of 1 and 2. Several cars over the berm. Andy Patton is towed to pit road. Wow, chaos back behind. We have not seen the caution yet. Pops Moore into second. Terry Landis in third. John Tobias in fourth. Joe Gauthier in fifth. Mark the Man Dan Tuma now up into sixth. But Kelly Wheeler so far has dominated the night. However, Pops Moore just set the fastest lap and has got back to Wheeler's bumper. How many times have we seen these two battle it out for the win? I think we're about to see it again. Pops gets a better run out of 2. Heads to the bottom into 3. Wheeler up top. 4 laps to go. The momentum goes to the guy up top. Terry Landis is closing back in. Tim Chapman has had an incident and has gone to pit road. John Tobias now to 4th. Joe Gauthier in 5th. Mark Dan Tuma in 6th. Greg Boydell in 7th. Mayor Bixler in 8th. Armando in 9th. 2 laps to go for Kelly Wheeler. He qualified it on the pole. But can he keep it up there for one more lap? The white flag flies one more time around. Pops looks to the bottom but can't slide job him. He's got one more shot, but it's going to take a lot. Kelly Wheeler out of turn 4 will win at Lernerville. Pops Moore comes home in second, Landis in third. And before we talk to our top 3, let's look at those late race incidents. All right, looking at Andy Patton underneath Dan Tuma, and there is just a big stack up. Andy Armando, Ed Harris, none of them had anywhere to go. Looking ahead, see if we can see. There's the banging. And just a bunch of guys with nowhere to go when the track fills up. We'll talk to our top 3 in a moment, but don't forget, folks, it is a double header tonight, so after we talk to the top 3, we're going to Talladega, where they will bust out the DW12 Indy cars to go at it again. And let's talk to our top 3, starting with Terry Landis. Terry, definitely a bumpy night for some, but not for you, man. Heck of a run.
Hey, thanks, Doug.
It looked a little rough out there. It was kind of hard to get some momentum built up with the cautions, but you managed to hold on once you got up toward the front.
Yeah, the track was rough too. Getting into turn 1, if on the low to the middle side, it threw the car up in the air a little bit. But 3 and 4 was working good. I should have went to the top earlier, like Pop said, but he found it, and good for him.
I do have to say, I was talking to Greg Boydell earlier this week, and we were talking about the fact that the track is iRacing updates and improves. The track does tend to get rougher right up by the wall and right down at the bottom.
Yeah, it's just like you want to see in real racing, That's why we do this, and they're trying their best to get it that way, I guess.
Well, definitely doing a great job, man, and so are you tonight. Congratulations. Is there anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, you, Doug, for putting it on, and Pops and Kelly for putting on a heck of a show. They were both really fast. I couldn't catch them. And let's see, give a shout out to Bill. Hope he's feeling better. And you for putting it on, of course, because you do a good job. And CDC for giving us a place to race. Chrysler Track Parts, Guys Back KSR, and put cart in Gallon's website, and you'll get 50% off for some great popcorn. And my wife, Judy.
Great job tonight, man.
Thanks, Doug.
Terry Landis comes home in third. Still waiting to get the top 2. It actually appears that Terry Landis and Pops Moore are not available. Kelly Wheeler and Pops Moore are not currently available. We'll give them a few more seconds, but folks, as I said, don't forget, after we talk to them, we will head to Talladega. Well, this is definitely a first for Retreads. Folks, we'll try and get a word with them here in a moment, but let's go ahead and head to Talladega, unpack the Indy cars, and do 230 miles an hour. Stick around, everybody. We'll be back in a moment.